morning, class. Did everybody have a nice weekend? Since we had a quiz on Friday, we didn't have any homework that was due this morning. So we're just going to go on to some new stuff that we don't know how to do yet. Okay, so last week after the quiz, we started talking about variables and equations a little bit. By show of hands, how many people can remember what a variable is? Good. It looks like most of you remember. Out of those who raised your hand, can one of you tell me what a variable is? That's right. A variable is a letter that represents a numerical value. Okay. Since you know what a variable is now, does anybody remember what an equation is? That's okay. If nobody remembers, I can remind you guys. An equation is a mathematical expression. An expression is something like this right here. It has numbers, variables, addition, subtraction signs, and there's normally two expressions set equal to each other that shows that they're the same value. So today we're going to be going over how to execute or solve equations with variables in them. I already have the examples written out, and you can copy them down in your notes if you like, because we're doing a lot of problems like these. So for the first example, we have 7x plus 3 equals 2x minus 12. The first thing we want to do when we're solving these kind of problems is make sure that you get x's on one side and the other side doesn't have any variables on it. So in this problem, we want to get x's on one side and non-x's on the other side. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract the 2x over to this side. So we get 5x plus 3 equals negative 12. So we're not done yet because we still have a non-variable 3 with x's. So we're going to subtract the 3 over on both sides. So then we end up with 5x equals negative 15. Now some of you might think that we'd be done here, but we're not quite done because we don't want to know how much 5x's are, we want to know how much 1x is. So to do that, we have to divide the rest of it by 5. So the 5x over 5 gives us just x. And then negative 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. So for this equation, x equals negative 3. And you can double check that by plugging negative 3 into these first equations. You plug 7 times negative 3, you get negative 21, and add 3, which is negative 18. And 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, minus 12 is also negative 18. So you have negative 18 equals negative 18, and it checks. We're going to go on to the next example now, and it's very similar. You just have to multiply stuff out first before you solve the problem. So with example 2, you're going to take the 4 and multiply it to the m and the 9. So you get 4m plus 36 on this one side, and then take the negative 3 and multiply it to m and the negative 4. So you get negative 3m plus 12, because if you have a negative times a negative, it gives you a positive. So from this step, though, it was very similar to the previous example that we were doing. You're going to take the 3m and add it over, and then you're going to take the 36 and subtract it over, so you have m's on one side, not m's on the other side. So when you do that, you have 7m equals negative 24. And to get just m, you're going to divide it by 7 on both sides. Now this one does not divide nicely, as some people would say, so you can leave it as an improper fraction. Or if you would like, you can change it to a decimal if that makes you happier with it. Whatever you like, either way is fine with me. So for this one, m equals negative 24 over 7. For example 3, there are two ways that you can solve this problem. We are solving for w, and there's two different answers. They are both right answers, they're just done differently. So the first way that we're going to look at is to take the 2 and multiply it through all of the different parts at the beginning. So that gives you A equals 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. Since we're solving for W, you want the W's on one side and the non-W's on the other side. So that's the next step. We just subtract the 2LH over to the other side because it doesn't have a W. Next step for this one is to factor out a 2W because both of these parts right here have a 2 and a W, so you can pull it out. When you do that, it leaves you with an L plus H. Once you get that, to get the W by itself, you're going to divide by both L plus H and plus 2. So when you do that, it cancels it out on this side, and this is what you end up with on the other side. So W in this first way equals A minus 2LH all over 2 times the quantity L plus H. But then there's another way to do this problem too and get the right answer for W. In this answer, or this way, you just divide the 2 at the very beginning. So you have A over 2 equals the LW plus the LH plus the WH. From this step, we're doing pretty much the same thing that we did over here in this step. We're going to subtract the LH, which leaves you with just a LW and a WH, and then factor the W out. So when you do all that and write it down, you have the A over 2 minus the LH over the L plus H, and that's what that one would look like factored. So this problem, both these answers are right, they're just done differently. Any of them are right. I'm going to show you how to double check some answers for the first type of problems on your calculator. So you turn your calculator on, go up to your y equals, plug in the two parts of the equation, one on one side and one on the next. So then you have them set equal to each other. And then you'll go to zoom so you can get the right screen. Go all the way down to zoom fit so you know that your intersection is going to be in your screen, and hit enter. So now it's graphing the two lines and there's the intersection. So the intersection is going to be an x and y value, but the x value is what we're looking for. So to find that, you're going to go to second, calc, and then you're going to go to intersect, which is number 5. And then once you hit that, you're going to get a flashing little dot, and it's up here, but you want to move it down as close as you can to the intersection, and then hit enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And there it will give you the intersection, and it says it's at x negative 3, y negative 18. So because of that, we know that our x value is right. Also because we double checked it on the board just by plugging the values in. But this is another way to do it as well. This way is okay to do it. I don't want you to do it like this all the time. On tests and homework, you will have to show all of these steps to get all of the points. So that way is okay just to double check your work. But I want to see all of these steps to make sure you understand what's going on. Because if you just say x equals -3 for this first one and don't have any work, I can't give you any partial credit like you would have gotten it wrong. But if you would have put x equals 5 on accident and had to switch numbers around and I can see that you did that, you get most of your points for everything. Because you showed work and I know you knew what you were doing. So the calculator is a good way to double check your work, but just to double check, not to do it for you. So I'm going to flip the board around here. Okay, so I got the board flipped around. We're going to do one more example, and if you have any questions, excuse me, we can go over questions. This example, we have an A and a B in it as well. And this is just showing that you can solve for a variable, and in this one we're solving for x, solve for a variable, and get an expression as an answer. So with this one, it's not too hard. The first thing that you're going to do in this problem is you're going to subtract the 8 to get it over to the other side, because since we're solving for x, we want everything that's not x on the other side of the equation. So after subtracting the x, or the 8, sorry. After subtracting the 8, you have x over a equals b minus 8. To get the x by itself now, you want to multiply both sides of the equation by an a. When you do that, the a cancels out over here on this side and leaves you with just x. So on this side, you're taking the whole b minus 8 times a, and not just b or not just 8. So this problem, when you end up, the answer is x equals a times the quantity b minus 8. So there are lots of different equations like this. There's many different ways to solve these type of problems, but you just have to remember that you want whatever variable you're solving for, like in this case x's, you want all the x's on one side and all of the non-x's on the other side, so then you can solve for x. Does anybody have any questions on how to do any of these problems? If nobody has any questions, we're going to do the homework problems. We're going to do 1 through 26 even. Yes, I know that's quite a few problems for tomorrow, but these problems, they just take a lot of practice and they get a lot easier. And if you have any questions or need any help, I'll be in the classroom the rest of the day. I'll be here for a little while after school. You can email me. And I'll get back to you as quick as I can. If it's late, I can't promise I'll email you back because I like to go to bed early. But we will go over some questions if you guys have questions tomorrow before we start any new stuff that builds on this. And also remember that this kind of stuff is going to be on the quiz on Friday, so be prepared to answer questions like that. So who can tell me what we learned today? That's right, we learned how to solve equations with variables. And if nobody has any more questions, I hope that you all have a nice rest of the day and enjoy the weather outside.